own Erica Jones, our MegaCast correspondent who is back at college, is now joining us live on the MegaCast. Erica, we miss you.
Hi, I was just going to say, don't you guys miss me? I miss you guys.
It seems like that is like a Photoshop backdrop, but I'm sure it's just you're outside right now, right? It's beautiful.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I sat down here. I was trying to look for a good background, and I was like, wow, this really looks like one of those Photoshopped ones. But no, this is real. You can see the fountain back there. It's absolutely beautiful outside. I really haven't gotten the opportunity to spend a lot of time outside on campus this year like I normally do, and just appreciating how beautiful it is, because as you can see, everywhere on campus, even outside, we have to wear masks, and it's so hot, especially this time of year. So it is a little bit uncomfortable, but I definitely wanted to sit out here this morning.
So Erica, tell us, what has it been like for you to go back? I know you were anxious about actually returning to campus. What's it been like?
It's been different, definitely very different. I definitely think I underestimated how different things would be. I know our president spoke a lot, and he was very confident about having a very different campus environment and how he would make sure that things were able to run smoothly. But I didn't really think it would necessarily happen, to be completely honest. And then I got here, I remember last Monday, my first day of classes, I walked on campus and I was like, wow, it feels like a Saturday today. No one's here. Everyone was wearing a mask. And like I said, even if you're not in class, even if you're outside, you have to be wearing a mask. I actually, just this morning when I sat down here, a couple of my close friends, here, I'll introduce you guys real quick.
Hey.
This is
Howdy.
Matthew.
Hi, friends.
So
Hey,
we're
guys.
sitting out here. They were just having a quick bite to eat, and even we have to wear masks. So really everywhere you are, you can take them off for a second to have a drink, but that's about it. So yeah, just hanging out outside, wearing masks. So yeah, like I said, definitely a huge adjustment from what we're used to seeing on college campuses, at least here in Miami.
Erica, you need to push your friends into service and have them be your camera operator.
Yeah, I know, for real. Definitely.
So tell us,
they're
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, my friend Malcolm was saying how he has some experience using tripods.
So tell us, do you have classes in the actual classroom, or most of yours remote right now?
So they're doing a hybrid method. For example, if you have a class that's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you'll most likely have that class in person one day. So they'll split it up into 3 sections. So there's only a small portion. Sorry, I keep playing with my mask. It falls down when I talk. But so there's only a small portion of the class in on each given day. So today, for example, I have my international business law class coming up in a little while. And Wednesday is the one day that I have it in person. But there's only about 6 students or so in the classroom, and all the other students that would be in the classroom on Monday and Friday join us via Zoom, and then they put the students who are on Zoom that respective day up on the board so they can participate in the class. So it's definitely a very different environment. Not many people in the classrooms. I think the most people I've had in one classroom at a time is maybe 7 or 8. So lots of social distancing. Everyone has to wear a mask. And I really do think University of Miami has been doing a fantastic job with that. And then some classes are completely online. For example, my French class, which I have 2 days a week, is completely virtual. That one's never in person. But other than that, all my classes are at least one day a week in person, and then the other days on Zoom.
So when you're on campus or in the classrooms, do you feel safe? Are you okay with being back in person?
Yeah, definitely. I feel safe because, like I said, the campus environment is so different. It's honestly dead. I was surprised even this morning when I ran into a couple of my friends, because I really haven't been seeing many people. I'm used to not being able to walk 10 steps without waving hi to people and seeing someone I know, but now I can come to campus, be here for a couple hours and not see anyone, so that's very different. I wish all my classes were in person. I understand that's not the case, but I really do not enjoy Zoom classes. I just feel very unproductive when I have classes on Zoom. It's hard when you're sitting in your living room doing class. It's just definitely a different feeling, and it's hard to remember that you're in school and you need to focus, but I understand that that's the reality of the world right now and we need to do that. So it's definitely an adjustment. And Sorry, there was some music going on. But yeah, it's definitely very different from what we're used to seeing.
Erica Jones with us, Oakland County MegaCast correspondent and a University of Miami student with us on the Oakland County MegaCast. Erica, definitely a stark difference between what's going on in the state of Michigan right now and what's going on in the state of Florida right now regarding coronavirus and regarding the response to the COVID-19 pandemic. What are some of those differences that you've noticed, having gone from a state that's been very strict and stringent with their regulations and their reaction to the state of Florida, where things have been a little bit more relaxed overall in their reaction to COVID-19?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, obviously things in Florida throughout this whole pandemic have been much worse than they've been in Michigan. And I was a little nervous about that, as you guys know, when I started school here, but we really have been doing a great job. And now that I am here, I think things are much more strict, and cases in Florida actually have been going down. I don't know exactly what's going on in Michigan, to be honest. I haven't totally been keeping up with it, but I honestly think at this rate, Florida is doing almost better than Michigan's doing. And I know a lot of college campuses, as we're seeing in Michigan, are shutting down, ones that haven't even started yet because they're just, being proactive and taking precautions before they even start. But here in Florida, definitely everywhere I go, everyone's wearing masks, even outside. My commute to school in the morning, I live in a building right across from campus, so I walk over here every morning. And I don't always wear my mask when I'm outside away from people, but even people who are outside on their bikes when they don't necessarily need to be wearing masks will still be wearing masks. So I've definitely been more than impressed with the amount of mask wearing here. And I definitely feel like it's a very safe environment. You would not come here and think that they were the epicenter of the pandemic, as they've been for the past several months. It's much more safe than a lot of people would imagine. And on campus especially, like I said, everyone's really doing a great job. Our president, Julio Frank, has done phenomenal. He's really followed through with everything he said he would. And I was very skeptical coming back to school on how long it would last. I would make jokes about how I'd be here for 2 weeks or so, but I really do think that the way things are going on campus, it's going to be able to continue like this for a while. I'm not saying that we haven't had outbreaks. There definitely are a lot of students that have contracted COVID-19 and they're being quarantined in certain dorm rooms. I believe some of them have gone to hotels. And I do think that we are close to, if not at capacity for those rooms, but I don't live on campus, so I haven't been affected by that as much. But it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. I just know that they're doing a great job of making sure that when one area where they're quarantining students fills up, they always have the next option ready and making sure that everyone has a place to go to be safe because they don't want to expose other students. Another thing, sorry, I'm rambling, that they've done that's very, very good during this pandemic is that we have assigned seats in each of our classes, the ones that are in person. And the point of those assigned seats is for tracking. So if one person contracts COVID-19, they can then email the students and say a person that sat in seat 56, for example, had COVID-19. So then the other students know who were in assigned seats near that person that they should go get tested. So it's been very, very good for tracking and making sure they know where everyone is and where cases are forming. So I have not yet had anyone in my classes that I've been notified of getting COVID-19. But like I said, as great as things have been going, I'm not going to say that people haven't been getting it because, of course, inevitably, there are students that have been getting the virus.
That's an interesting way for the college to be able to try to track if someone does get it, because I know some of the colleges here actually have an app for people to go on and log, and then it tracks people next to them. So if, let's say that something does happen and they pull back and all classes are remote, would you continue to stay down in Miami or would you come home?
You know, I've thought about that a lot. I've been thinking about that since this pandemic started. I don't have an answer for you on that, to be completely honest. Of course, I would love to stay here, hang out with my friends and do everything I'm doing. But at the same time, I know I have Civic Center TV and I've had all this great experience with developing my career. And it's very hard for me to pass up an opportunity like that to be able to come home and work if all my classes were remote. But at the same time, it's hard to compromise your college experience in the midst of this pandemic because these 4 years are so precious. And it would be very, very hard to not get that, you know, socially and just for my mental health, even being here, being with my friends, just, it's nice. Even my friends sitting right here, we're not talking, but it's just, I've been FaceTiming with them for so long. It's so refreshing to actually be with them in person again and having that social interactions, which I didn't have for so long. So it's very, very hard to even think about that. And I have my apartment down here. So I think, as much as I don't know, my short answer, in a perfect world, if classes were to go online, I would like to think I would be able to somewhat come back and forth. But then again, travel is hard right now during the pandemic. So I don't really know. I guess it's kind of a we'll cross that bridge when we get to it type of situation.
Erica, a lot of students are going back to school in various places, whether it be down in Miami, down in Florida, like where you're at, or back in many of the schools here in Michigan and in southeastern Michigan. What advice do you have for returning students or even college students that are starting their first semesters in these situations to navigate the situation that they're in and still enjoy that college experience, albeit safely?
Don't be stupid is my best advice. We all know the power is really within us. It's within the students. If I wasn't wearing this mask right now, if no one around me was wearing the mask right now, this would be spreading a lot more rapidly. And it's interesting, all the signs we have around campus say help slow the spread. They don't say help stop the spread, because we know it's inevitable that cases are going to spread. But by wearing masks, social distancing, following the necessary precautions, we can help slow it, which will keep us in classes for longer. And washing our hands, that's so important too. We don't think about it enough, but just anywhere you go, wash your hands. Stop by the bathroom to wash your hands. At any given time you eat something, wash your hands in between classes. It seriously makes such a difference. I'm actually taking a public health class this semester, which has been really cool during this crazy time in the world. And just last class, we were talking about how big of a difference it actually does make to wash your hands everywhere you go and wearing masks. So stuff like that. And I just think, for incoming freshmen especially, my heart goes out to them. Not being able to have the normal college experience is so hard for them. But there were some students here that the first week or so they moved into their dorm. They had a party in their tiny little shoebox dorm with like 15 people, and they posted it everywhere, and they got in serious trouble. I know they were suspended. They might have even been expelled or kicked out of school for a while. So just don't do stuff like that. This pandemic isn't going to go on forever. Every student will have a time where their life is back to normal. So as much as it sucks, trust me, I know it sucks. I definitely think it's worth waiting for, because if we do what we need to do now, the wait will be much shorter than if we just act like there is no pandemic, and then who knows how long it'll be, because we can only control what we can control, and the rest we just need to leave up to our medical experts. We need to listen to what they're saying, and I really, really have learned that being back here.
So it sounds like the university officials are doing a great job to try to manage the pandemic. But let's be honest here. You're college kids, and what happens off campus, they can't control. What is that like? I know you live off campus, although you're near campus. Are parties happening? Up here we're seeing pictures crazy, like at CMU, and Greek life has been suspended at a lot of the universities. What's that scene like there in Miami?
Right. So Greek life is strictly prohibited from having any sort of events whatsoever. At first, we were told that if you had any type of event with more than 10 people in the same sorority or fraternity, even if it was unofficial, more than 10 people gathering from the same Greek life group could be considered an event hosted by that Greek life organization, and then your organization was potentially at risk of being suspended or even kicked off campus. And then actually on Monday night, my sorority had another chapter meeting, and we were told just as little as 3 girls from the same sorority could be considered an event, which, that's crazy to me, because, it's hard to think that you couldn't even have 3 girls hanging out in an apartment. But I understand they're doing what they need to be doing. They're doing what they need to do, taking the necessary precautions. I don't think there really are that many parties going on here. I'm not going to tell you people aren't having small hangouts and gatherings, because of course they are, but at least from what I know, people are still wearing masks, and going out like we normally do in college isn't even really an option. Bars are closed, clubs in South Beach are closed, so it's not just like you can hop in an Uber and go down to the beach like we used to be able to and wait in line and go to clubs. We don't even have that option. And of course, like you said, if people want to have house parties, no one can really control that. But I think people do know at this point that they're not really going to get away with it. So people definitely are being cautious. And if it is happening, it's not so much of a party. It's more, I think people are having little get-togethers. And with those, they're being careful. They are wearing masks, and they're doing what they need to be doing to make sure that they don't get in trouble or put anyone at risk. So from what I've seen, for sure, people are being very safe. Again, I think it's more of the freshmen who don't really understand as much the severity of this situation and are just eager to start their college experience, not realizing that it's definitely worth the wait. But I think it's also hard for them socially because, now that I'm a junior, I already have a pretty established group of friends. So for us, if I'm hanging out at my apartment with just 5 of my closest friends, that's easy for me because I've already formed those bonds, and I'm confident that even if I can't see all my friends right now, I'll be able to eventually. Where for freshmen, it's so hard because they don't have those bonds formed already. So for them, I think they're just more wanting to get out there and be in these bigger groups of people so they can meet people. And I totally understand that. I can't imagine how I would feel if I were a freshman. So that's kind of what the scene has been like for off campus. But, it's hard because the freshmen are on campus. So as much as I could have 5 people at my apartment social distance, and that's not a problem, in their dorm rooms, they don't even have the option of doing that. So I really do feel bad for them, but it's just a tricky situation.
Erica Jones with us, University of Miami student and a correspondent with us here on the Oakland County Megacast across the local area. Erica, just a few more minutes with us. Anything else that you would like to speak on today about your experience going back to school and how that's been impacted by COVID-19, or any lasting words of advice or wisdom?
My friends are just heading out back to the bookstore. Actually, I know you talked about, this isn't really advice or anything, but you talked about how some other schools are doing symptom trackers on their phones. We're actually doing that too. So when I walked into the bookstore the other day, I think I had to buy a couple pens or something, they made me pull out my phone, show them my symptom tracker to make sure that I had taken care of that. So we are doing that even on top of the assigned seats. And then other advice, again, like I said, just don't be dumb. Do what you're told. If someone tells you to wear a mask, wear a mask. It's much easier for me to say it because on my campus, it is a private school. So they've been able to regulate us a lot more than they would be able to at a lot of public universities. And I think that's made things a lot easier for us. We have people walking all around campus. If you even step foot on campus not wearing a mask, someone will come up to you within your first 10 steps and tell you to put on a mask. But for students that don't have as strict of guidelines like that, you just need to be self-disciplined. And I think self-discipline is such an important thing. You need to understand that if it's a Tuesday night, it's okay to sit home for once and just hang out with your roommates and not try and find a way to go out and party, because like I said, the longer we're able to do that, the quicker this will go by and we will be able to get back to normal college life like everyone wants. So my best advice is just be smart. Don't be stupid. Don't do things. Everyone knows what they should and shouldn't be doing during this time. And I don't really think being naive is an excuse anymore. This has been going on for long enough. People know. No one's really naive to this anymore unless you've been living under a rock. You know the basic things like wearing a mask, washing your hands. And I'm no medical expert, but I'm living in it. I know what's going on. I don't want to have to leave my beautiful campus, and I don't think anyone else wants to either. So definitely just do what you need to do and be respectful of, the faculty. I think it's definitely underestimated how hard faculty and administrative people on these campuses have been working to make sure that students are safe and want to get back here. And no one wants to be the person no one wants to be the university that's the reason that, 10 more universities have to start a domino effect of closing. So just do what you need to be doing.
Hey, Erica, real quick before we let you go, a couple questions. One, did you have to get a COVID test before you went? And tell us a little bit more about the app. Is it required, and how does it work?
Yeah, so I did have to get a COVID test before I went back. Again, I don't think that public universities are able to mandate that, but my school, University of Miami, is private, so they did not actually let anyone back on campus until you got the COVID test. So I actually just went in Oakland County. I went to Oak Park Urgent Care before I came back. I got the rapid test, which I thought was horrible, but got to do it. The nose swab was definitely not something I enjoyed, but some people don't think it's as bad. Definitely worth it. I got my results in 20 minutes after that, was negative. So then all I had to do was take a snapshot of that test and upload it onto my student portal. For students that didn't want to necessarily go on site to get tested, you could also order a kit from the university to test yourself. So a lot of students did that option. I didn't do that just because I didn't necessarily trust myself to properly administer the test on my own. And that did make me a little nervous that they were doing that, because if I don't trust myself to do it on my own, I'm sure there were a lot of students that didn't necessarily do that properly, just because, again, we're not medical experts. So I was a little surprised that the school was offering that as an option for students to do testing on their own. And I think that could have almost given us a false hope or perspective on how low our cases were. So it'll be interesting to see within the next couple weeks if that did have an impact, if there were some false negatives or positives there because students were doing it themselves, to see how that changes. But I didn't do that, so I don't really know. I do have a couple friends that did that, and they said that it wasn't that bad, because if you're doing the test yourself, when you're sticking it up your nose, if you feel a little bit of resistance, you're going to pull it out. But if someone else is doing it for you, they're going to make sure that they get it as far up as they need to get the proper results. So that's something interesting. And then your other question, as far as the app goes, you just go onto it right now. I can't get back into it again today, but it just asks you basic questions about your symptoms, making sure you don't have any of the basic COVID symptoms, just checking in to make sure that you're feeling okay. And just honestly, if anything, I think it's more of a reminder to make sure that you're not stepping foot on campus and putting other students in danger if you are experiencing any of those symptoms, because you might not necessarily be thinking about it when you wake up in the morning, and then you'll get here, go on your phone, maybe read a couple of them and be like, wow, maybe I do have a little bit of a sore throat today or something like that. So definitely just an extra reminder to think twice about those things that you normally wouldn't think about.
Erica Jones with us on the Oakland County MegaCast. It's so good to get the chance to talk with you. And thanks for sharing your insight and your experience with everyone back home here in Oakland County. Have fun, be safe, and study hard, because I'm sure you're doing that.
Yes, of course. Thank you so much. I really hope I get the opportunity to check back in with you guys again throughout the whole semester. Maybe, if things change, or even if they don't, just to check in and give more insight as the semester continues to unfold during this pandemic.
Thanks so much. Erica Jones with us on the Oakland County MegaCast.